Hello there. So I've been ripped off again. This time it's to do with the roof on my house. I have birds picking off great big chunks of moss that end up everywhere, and there's still moss all over the roof. Well, my neighbour said to me a few months ago that he was looking to have his roof cleaned. And I thought, okay, well, I'm not sure I could be bothered, but fair enough. February 2023, and I get a knock on my door. The gentleman at the door asks me to go outside and have a look at the wonderful work he's done on my neighbour's property. So I'm standing there in the road, looking at my neighbour's roof and my roof and thinking, wow, there is a significant difference there. He's had his roof cleaned and it's back to the whatever it is, terracotta colour tiles, and mine are black and all the moss is gone from his roof. He starts reeling off to me about the things they'll do. They'll clean it, they'll put some kind of thing on that'll stop the moss growing back, they'll clean it all up and it'll all be lovely. My neighbour wanted it done, so he must have called this company in, and I can see they've done a good job. Now, normally I would tell somebody who comes to the door to go away. To be honest, people could come to the door saying, do you want a gold bar? And I would say no. I don't believe that people that come to your door selling stuff or offering services are usually very good at it or reputable people, because otherwise they wouldn't have to do that. But in this occasion, because my neighbour had had it done, and I assumed, and that being the biggest mistake here, that he'd called them, I thought, well, what's the harm really in having this done? And then I was thinking, I don't really want to spend it, but I suppose £300 or £400. This chap had a kind of Irish accent. And indeed, I noticed afterwards that the number plates on the car were European. I think he'd come over from Ireland, potentially. So he says to me in his kind of thick accent, first he introduces himself, he's very polite, shakes my hand, asks my name, tells me his, and then says that normally they would charge £1,000 to clean a roof, but today he's going to give me the special deal of £700. And I'm thinking, blimey, that's kind of double what I would expect to pay. Sort of thinking at that point, I'm not so sure. And he can probably see me. He's gone to enough houses to know that when people are on the edge of accepting. So the first thing he said was, oh, don't worry, we will do a test patch on your roof, and then if you're not happy with it, we don't have to do it. But, if you're happy with it, then we'll go ahead and we'll strike a deal, he sort of says to me. So I thought, well, what's the harm in that? So I go inside, I look it up loosely on Google, how much does it cost to have a roof cleaned, and come to the conclusion that actually £700 is about bang on the money. After 10 minutes, I went outside and it kind of dawned on me at that point, hang on a minute, he's cleaned like a third of my garage roof. I can't very easily leave this now because it looks absolutely ridiculous. Didn't want to have it done, but it was an opportunistic thing. I thought, well, let's just do it while they're there. They've got all the machinery. They have done a good job on my neighbours, so it must be fine. So I tried to strike a deal with him. I tried to get it for £600, and he said, well, we settled on £650. I went inside, carried on my work. The things that should have made me question things then started to happen. So I suddenly realised I couldn't get hold of that amount of cash, actually, for various reasons. My card got cancelled because of a scam, another scam that happened to me on the internet the week before. So I went out there and I said to the bloke, look, can you come back tomorrow and I'll pay you then, because I can't get hold of the cash today. And he sort of said to me, oh, well, no, don't worry about it. You can go to the bank. I said to him, I can't go to the bank. I've got work this afternoon. And he was like, oh, no, don't worry about it. You can come back at 6 tonight. Anyway, it was my lunch hour, so I did go into the city, into my local city, which is the only place with a bank that I can withdraw money from. Came back. My house was in an absolute state at this point, with muck everywhere, and I'm sort of thinking, I hope they're just not going to rip me off now, because I actually had to leave them at that point, which I know is a no-no, and I sort of said to him, you will clean up, won't you? And he said, oh yes, we'll clean this, we'll clean that. So I paid them the money and left, half expecting that they wouldn't finish the job. Okay, well, they did finish the job. I came back and I thought, yeah, this looks all right. They have cleaned all the windows, they've cleaned all the muck off the door and the house, and they've even pressure washed a bit of the drive to get rid of all the crap there as well. But then a day after, that's when things really started to dawn on me. So I looked up roof cleaning in a bit more detail. I believe I have the sort of red terracotta tiles on my roof. They pressure washed those tiles. I believe you can pressure wash concrete tiles, but I don't think you're meant to pressure wash terracotta tiles because they have a sort of glaze on them, and pressure washing removes the glaze and makes them kind of permeable to water, which can cause your house to leak, which obviously you don't want to have. So I didn't think it was probably the right approach, actually, at that point. But it was raining, there's no leaks, so perhaps I kind of got away with it. I then had a look along this side of my house. That was the part of the house they hadn't cleaned, and there was muck all over the gutters, all over the wall and window and fence, and all over the floor, which I then had to spend a couple of hours cleaning up. Moss all over my grass in the garden. Do you expect them to go around picking that up? Well, I kind of did actually for that amount of money. But anyway, they left a right mess round there. I then noticed, and this is slightly concerning, shards of tile scattered throughout my garden in various places. And I reviewed my security camera footage and found that they didn't go around hiding it, okay, which was my initial paranoid explanation, but they'd obviously fallen or been thrown off the roof while they were cleaning the roof, and there were lots of these little rectangular tiles. And obviously I thought, well, if there are tiles that now aren't on my roof, then my roof isn't as watertight as once it was. So very concerning. And in fact, there was a pile of these rectangular tiles. I've since worked out where they come from in the roof. I don't think they're critical to the waterproofness of my roof, but I didn't expect for those tiles to be snapped. That comes to the other thing. Should they have been walking around on the roof? My research also kind of showed that really you're not supposed to walk around on roofs like that. You're supposed to, put up ladders and things, and you're supposed to scrub the moss off or put some kind of spray on to just change the colour of the tiles. It does look clean, kind of, in places. They haven't done a thorough job on bits of the house that you can't immediately see, which isn't that much of a problem, I suppose. The problems don't stop there. My other neighbour knocked on my door, and he was a very polite chap. I'm not sure I would have been as polite in his position, but he knocked on my door to tell me and to show me pictures of the mess that they had made of his house. So all the moss and dirt that had come off my roof had gone into the alleyway, wall, window, pipes of my neighbour. They'd left a window open in their bathroom, and there was now crap all in the bathroom as well. So no care was taken to avoid that, and my neighbour cleaned it up because he had some free time by the sounds of it. I would have had to have done it myself. If not, I was very grateful and very apologetic to him. Now, when they were up on my roof, they did also point out that some of my, that's quite good, my pointing was not in great condition. So I didn't have that done. Now, I've since spoken to the neighbour who had the work done before me, basically confirmed my suspicions and said they were con artists, and that he tried to warn me, but I was already speaking to them. They did the pointing on his roof. I wouldn't trust them. Some of it's paranoia. The work that they're doing is either ineffectual or possibly has a negative impact on what they were supposed to do. So either the pointing offers no protection on his roof, or it offers negative protection and will actually suck in water into his house. That's probably a little bit, but the most likely situation, I think, is that the pointing's useless and it would have to all be removed and repointed properly. There's so many kind of repercussions of the work that they've done that you have to spend your own time. I think I've spent about 4 hours in total cleaning up after them. So the final disaster in this situation was, I thought, well, okay, they've sprayed all the moss off the roof. Where's it gone? Maybe they took it away with them. So I checked my Arlo footage again and got a video of the chap dumping the moss in a flower bed in my garden. And then as I kind of looked round to find the moss, I found piles of moss at the front, and obviously there was all the moss down the side. Just lots and lots of moss. And I thought, well, this doesn't look like all the moss. I bet I know where the moss is. So I stuck my hand in the gutters at the front of my house, and I could not get my hand in the gutter because the gutters are full to the brim with moss from the roof. So I had to spend another 2 hours in total going around all the gutters in my house, scooping out what basically has amounted to half a brown bin's worth of moss, so that my gutters actually work properly and don't block the drains and overflow. So all in all, it wasn't a great experience. I'm kind of over it. This is me being over it. The moral of the story is, if you need something like that doing on the roof of your house, firstly, make sure that you're having the right thing done. Don't employ people who just come to your door. If you want something doing, get 3 quotes, because then you find out how much it should cost, and you find out, you get a feeling for the proper procedures, what they say they're going to do to your roof to protect it. All in all, it was a big mistake. My roof looks clean. Hopefully it's not leaking. Anyway, has anything like this ever happened to you? Please let me know down below. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my misfortune there. It's been a few weeks of misfortune. I've got to try and ring the bank tomorrow to sort out that disputed transaction with the company that doesn't exist, which has an office which is a shack in the middle of a desert, no phone number, has never sent me any order confirmation details, and on their About Us section of the page says it's a women's fashion company when I bought a shower head from them. We'll see how that goes. Thank you to my loyal patrons who are scrolling down the screen now, especially George Foote, Jim McKay, Jennifer Jones, Samir Altamar and Rob Van Eden, who are extremely generous patrons. Thank you very much indeed. Do subscribe if you enjoy my videos. And I'm going to go outside now and admire £650 of partially cleaned roof.